Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamshachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We salute Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the Guru of the whole world, the son of Vasudeva, the destroyer of the demons, Kamsa and Chanura, and the darling of Mother Devaki. Our salutations to Sri Ram, Sri Krishna again and again. So we are reading Bhagavat, and we are on the 28th chapter, book number 3, and you have read up to verse number 12. So what we read is this: Kopila, the mother of Devahati, was giving instructions, and the instruction was what are the sign of a yoga practitioner, and how one will be meditating on the divine form, how you will be meditating on the divine Leela, etc. That was the subject. So we read that Bhagavan Kopila started saying, Mother, I shall now describe to you the nature of meditation on the formful aspect of the Supreme Being. People do formless meditation, but it is a God with form. So how to do that? By practicing it, what happens? The mind becomes purified. And then it gets established in the divine consciousness. So therefore, what I want to do, it becomes an aspiration, must abstain from evil ways. Sadharma acharanam vidharmacha nivartanam. One should be first practicing anything, should be moral. So he should follow what is dharma, righteous activity to follow, and abstain from those which are not the dharma of a holy person. And then sadharma vidharmacha. Devo alabdhena santosha. He should be happy, contented, what God gives in life. Deva alabdha santosha. Atmam bit charanarcha. He must serve holy men and feel happy with whatever God gives in life. He must shun the ways of the worldliness. That means the worldly people have their ways of living. He does not have to join them. He is beyond that. He can come out of that. He must shun the ways of worldly things and develop what? Deep interest in the ways to lead the spiritual realization. It is a turning point. He should turn like that. He should eat only moderately what is conducive to health of the body and purity of the mind. They don't indulge into the tongue. Rather, what is good for the health and how body will help in return. Therefore, they take food like that. They develop love for solitude and should periodically spend time. So it should go to a solitude, place of solitude, where environment is congenial for meditation. Like this, in a temple is a congenial place for meditation. It's a holy group of people who are thinking holy thoughts. That association is tight. So they select that type of place and people. You must abstain from injuring, hurting others. Ahimsa, sattam, asteyam. It will be not exploiting others, talking too much, accumulating property, indulging in sexual thoughts, words, or deeds. He must devote to truth, cleanliness, austerity, scriptural study. He must be moderate in speech, practice of steady posture, and he must learn to concentrate the mind, the prana, energy, In one, its seat means in the mind. He must contemplate the excellence of the glories of the deeds, and may concentrating like that, they will think of the glory of the Lord, and which will generate peace and joy in the mind. Think of God, its divine play, divine glory. By all this means the mind which is beset with evil tendencies and which is naturally inclined in the world, instinctive urges, should be brought under control. So this outward tendency is to be first controlled. So that should be the effort, attempt of a spiritual person. And then he should, at a congenial place, now he should sit, aspirant established should sit. As we do it here, congenial chair, floor, congenial seat, posture, which posture? Padmasana, Sukhasina va, then the posture, easy posture, where you are comfortable in whatever. Lotus posture or any other posture, which is, he should practice then sitting there motionless. Motionless means most of the people do this, that, this, that. It should be, it should be like just steady. That means this means the mind is getting disturbed already in outside. So that should not be the following the path of controlling the mind. Then a seat for the meditation should practice sitting there motionless, upright for a long time. Then he should regulate his breath to the three forms of pranayama. Is infilling, buraka, exhaling, and inhaling. Three times. Etc. etc. The mind of a yogi who is established to control the prana will soon shed restless tendency, because prana control and doing this breathing exercise, it helps to control or master the restlessness of the body as also of the mind. Mind and vital energy are connected together. That is found when we are angry. We know the breathing goes how fast and how irregularly. No? So emotion and all this, and when peacefulness is there in the mind, and all these different conditions. Then you will have to do the pranayama, the obstacles of arising, which is in the humors, and according to what we call our Ayurveda, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, they can be overcome by. Now today we read meditation on the divine form. So when the aspirant's mind is free from outgoing tendencies, is well controlled and peaceful, he should meditate on the form of the Lord with eyes partially closed as if gazing at the tip of the nose. No? So now comes, you have done the breathing exercise, then you are trying to meditate. And Saguna Brahma. So very important point. People jump into Nirguna Brahma. But unless the mind is purified by meditation and prayer to Saguna Brahma, Nirguna Brahma attraction will not be correct. Because purification of the mind is necessary.
What does that mean, Saguna Brahman?
Saguna means God with form. And Nirguna Brahma is then formless, infinite, absolute, non-dual. Absolutely. That's good. That's the idea. There's nothing wrong. But that you should start to this Saguna Brahma.
Saguna is not with form. Sakara is with form.
Saguna means Sakara. Here, Guna and Akara means together. Because they will talk about Krishna, the Narayana forms and so on. Here, Saguna means, Saguna Sakara, better to say. Because we live in Saguna and Sakara. I am filled of three gunas and I have a Akara. And I, to think of infinite, I have no capacity to do that. So, first of all, sitting posture, Ashtanga path, Yama Niyama, moral codes, Yama Niyama, Asana, steady posture, just a. And then after that, try to sit in a posture long time so that don't move all the time. Your mind is there itself. What to question of meditating in God, and then you do your control of the breath, little bit, so that it helps to control your mind. Now, today we start from verse number 13. This was up to verse 12. Let meditation on the divine form, 13 verse. Prasanna vadanam bhujang padma garbho urunekshanam nilot paludalo shyamam shankha chakra gadadharam. Beautiful. Prasanna vadanam bhujam. The Lord whose face is prasanna, ever peaceful, sang, just full of peace, radiating. Let the aspirant meditate until his mind becomes steadfast on the total form of the Lord described here. The Lord's face resembles a lotus flower in full bloom. Prasanna Vadanam, Madunam Bhujam, in full bloom. His eyes bear a light reddish sting like the inside of the red lotus. Padma Garbha Urunekshanam. Ikshan means this looking eyes. Uruna, it will be red color. Like a red lotus, you open up, then red, the color will be like that, eyes will be like that. Detail. That's why when you meditate on Sri Ramakrishna, this is the like a giving a direction. To pay attention to every bit of it. So first you see, meditate and mind, the total mind from the lotus, the Lord's face as if like a lotus, a beautiful lotus, full of this blooming lotus as it were, eyes bearing a light reddish tinge like the inside of the red lotus. His body resembles blue. Nilo utpalo dalo shyamam. That his body is shyamam. Utpalo dalo. Padma. Like a Nilo Utpala. Nil is blue lotus. So, Nilotpalo Dalo Shamam. The Shamam, his physical body will be color. Right? So, what you call the Krishna's body color? Blue. So, that is the description. Think of the blue color Krishna. Thakur used to say, Holy Mother used to say, Ramakrishna's body was like gold. When the golden amulet was there, it is very difficult to distinguish the amulet and the body, color remaining the same almost. So, like that, if you want to meditate on Sri Ramakrishna, try to think in that way. And his body resembles blue lotus in the color. He sports the discus, conch, mace, and desire. Narayana, we are thinking of Narayana. So he has his 4 arms and he's having 4 objects in there. One is the mace, another the disc, and the conch, and the discus, conch, blowing conch, mace, and another one is a lotus, Sankho, Chakra, Gada, Padma. His silk robe is bright and yellow like the filament of lotus flower. He has as decorations the bright mark of Srivatsa on the chest and the brilliant precious stone named Kostuva around his neck. He has a beautiful necklace in the ear. His name is Kostuva. His pendant is Kostuva. And his precious stone, that is the Kostuva stone, and the mark of Srivastava. See that the Darpahari, what is his name? This mark, Narayana's chest is marked with whose footprint?
Bhrigu.
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 Bhrigu. The sage Bhrigu.
No, Agastya, I think Agastya or Bhrigu, he keep on his chest.
Boli Siddhai. No.
Bhrigu Maharaj, I know.
Narayana could the his feet, 3rd foot on his
That is Boli's.
Bolis.
Ah.
But here is the Bhrigu. Anyhow, so there is just mark of the Narayana's divine form is like that. Put festooned on his body is a floral wreath called Bonomala with buzzing honeybees hovering about it. The beautiful poetic description. There will be flower garden and its honey is so fragrant that the honey's bees are all hovering around that. His other ornaments consist of rare and precious necklace of pearls, bracelets, diadem, armlet, anklet, all gold, 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 everything. Beautiful divine form describing. He has a brilliant girdle encircling his waist. He sits in the heart of his devotees. He sits, where is the seat? Not in the lotus, but in the heart of the devotees. He is the quintessence of beauty, radiating peace and enthralling the heart and the eyes. It pleases the eyes to see, behold it, and there feels the presence of that. Superb in his beauty and attracting the adoration of the whole world, he is to be thought of as a youthful of love and sympathy for his devotees. So, not only beauty, spiritual beauty, superb of his physical beauty, being radiant like that, it attracting the adoration of the whole world. We all adore the beauty. He is the most beautiful in the world. His attraction is also tremendous. Not only that, but he is to be thought of as youthful of love. And we see is only made of love as it were. And sympathy for his devotees is overflowing. Himself limitless in his fame, he enhances the reputation of his great devotees like Dhruva and Prahlada. His beauty is that he is glorious by his own. He's so attractive, so pure, so full of love. But he also gives the fame. He is famous, but he enhances the reputation of his devotees. How? Dhruva and Prahlad. People remember the great devotee who is that? Prahlad. Prahlad, he himself is great. He also glorifies his devotees also to make them noble. Because that is you touch gold, precious, what is called? You touch the
Missing stone.
philosopher's stone, and that makes the gold, as iron as gold. So he himself is gold, he also makes everyone gold. He himself is love, he makes everyone love. He himself is famous, he who thinks about him, they become famous. An example is Dhruva, an example is Prahlada. He may be meditated upon as standing, moving, seated in any attractive posture, or as the light of consciousness filling the heart. So he may be now meditated upon. 19 verse says, you can meditate of him, Stitang Brajantam Ashinang Shayanam Baguhasayam Prekshaniye Ahitam Dhayet Shuddha Bhavena Chetasa. You have to think of Bhagavan in this way, in the pure heart. And how will you think? As you can think as he's standing, he's putting a glass, he's moving, you can think. That's why you call Leela. Leela means the divine sport. You can think that Krishna is moving here and there. Ramakrishna is moving in the Dakshineshwar, walking here, going to the temple, coming back to his room, meditating on sometime dancing, seated in any attractive posture. Maybe he's seated. He's everything. Within that say there Madhurastakam is there. One verse composed, one poem. Madhuram, Madhuram, Madhuradhipate, Madhuram, Madhuram. Everything
is on Srinath.
So everything is Madhur. When everything is beautiful, everything is sweet. God's every posture, gesture, look, standing, sitting, smiling, it is unparalleled. Uh, So that you can meditate upon. So meditate on the physical features, radiant light, look at his eyes, his face beaming with peace, radiating peace, all this description. You think of all these features. He may be meditated upon as standing, moving, seated in any attractive posture, or you can think of him also. See how in now and then they are talking about Vedanta. Or the light of consciousness filling the heart. You can think that your heart is filled with light of consciousness. Not form anymore, but it is filled with light. So, 19th verse says, Kirtayan Sthitang Brajantam Ashinang Shayanam Bhagguhashayam Prekshoniye Ahitang Dayet Shuddha Bhavena Chetusa. Therefore, then 19, 20 verse says, when the mind has been fixed on the total form, the aspirant should think of the form in its various parts of the body. In this way, you think of the whole body, and the whole body of your Ishta, your chosen ideal, from eyes, face, this, that, to hand, feet, etc. Then you think of the whole body. And when the mind has been fixed on the total form, the aspirant should think of the form in the various parts. Then you go to the individual parts of the body. That means your mind to rotate around the Lord and His divine form. 21. He should meditate on his feet, particularly concentrating on the marks on the soul. Mhm. Narayana has a what? The foot. What is the footprint in the Narayana's foot?
Chakra.
Chakra. So that you have to focus. In his foot there is a sub-chakra, like that. Concentrating on the marks on the soul. The mark of the thunderbolt which breaks asunder the mountain of sin accumulated by the devotee through the ages. That has the power. If you think, it is like a thunderbolt, and it can remove all the past impure thoughts, all sinful ideas can be washed away by thinking of that. That means, it's all for a devotee. These are tools how you can think and feel purified. The whole spirituality is purification. So this is the mind is getting purified. The hook mark which can restrain the mind as an elephant hook does a mad elephant. Hook mark. What is the hook mark in the body of Narayana? The flag mark which relieves the threefold woe of men. It's in Narayana's form, there are maybe there's flag mark and this and that. It's in Ramanuja devotees, you'll find that they mark their body in different ways. So these marks resemble in the body of God. So it reminds that, oh, it is Narayana. So people, that tattoo has come nowadays, but India is using the tattoo for a long time. But those tattoos always indicate the symbology. Is a Shiva as a symbol, like this is Ramanuja.
No, this one is just 2 feet of Vishnu. That is the Vaishnava. But Shaiva is
Shaiva will be like
three
this.
gunas, because Shri has the trident.
Trident.
So that is why the 3.
So anyway, so this type of thing, everything has a significance. So thinking that way, your mind becomes pure and pure and pure. Therefore, what are to think? Accumulate the devotee through the inner. The mark of the thunderbolt which breaks asunder the mountain of sin accumulated by the devotees through the ages. Through the ages, we accumulated so many negative activities, negative action, and their sinful effect. So that can be destroyed when one thinks at the feet of the Lord, the mark of constant mark on the soul, the mark of the thunderbolt. Then the hook mark, which can be restrained, which can restrain the mind, as an elephant hook. As the elephant is controlled by a hook. Huh? So it is the elephant hook does a mad elephant. Similarly, hook mark in the feet. If you think of the in the feet of there is the one hook mark also. So then that will help the same way to quiet down the mind. The flag mark, which releases the threefold woe of men. Woe of men. The lotus mark, which fills the mind with joy, and also on his large semicircular crimson toenails, which brilliance is capable of dispersing the intense darkness of ignorance in the heart of the devotees. That means if you look at the foot of the and see there is the mark, this mark, that mark, that mark. Look at the toes, how they're. If you think like that, then all the negativities of the life will go away. This faith is also important. Bhakti is a bhakti book. So main thing is the faith. I have been one to some Rama devotees. They have so much faith. They have not read much. But if they say anything is written in a book, so they have the idea that whatever written in the book, they believe it and they practice those. So this practice helps them to purify the heart.
The Thakur stories that that book contain only one thing, Ram, 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 Ram. That the one person used to read the book every day. So somebody
And the
asked
faith.
that what is there in that book, reading so religiously. Then found that in every page it is written only Ram, 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 Ram.
So let the aspirant meditate long on the holy feet of the Lord in this way. Feet so holy that the Ganga, the water flowing from his feet, would make even Shiva feel sanctified by allowing it to fall on his head. It is said, Mother Ganga comes out of what? From the feet of the Lord Narayana, Lord Vishnu. So think that then let the aspirant meditate on the holy feet of the Lord, total feet. And he's talking about see at the foot of the feet, no? This side,
The soul.
soul. Think of the soul. Think that there is mark, this mark, that mark, flag mark, the thunderbolt mark, and this and that. And think of the toe. Then think of the whole feet. So, and whole feet, so holy. Whole feet is so holy that holy Mother Ganga sprang from the feet of the Narayana. And also this is in Ramakrishna's life, we can match that story. Ramakrishna, one day, with a mystic vision, Holy Mother saw that Ramakrishna is walking, and Ramakrishna's feet, Mother Ganga, is generated and it's flooding. And suddenly came Swami Vivekananda, sprinkling that water among the innumerable people, sprinkling like that Ganga water, and everyone is getting liberated. It's a mystic vision of Holy Mother in that was in happened when Mother was in Kusudi or Belur, Nilambar Babu's garden house. On looking at the Ganga, Mother was watching the Ganga, and suddenly she saw that Ramakrishna is walking, and from his feet, the Mother Ganga is springing, and that is huge water and huge, where from thousands of people are all around, and Vivekananda is sprinkling that Ganga water, and even everyone is getting liberated. It's a very mystic experience. It has before Swami Vivekananda came or after whatever. That is the proof that Mother Ganga has come. Is it? If we can match these stories, Ramakrishna's story in the life, we can find this. This Bhagavatam is written when? So it matches so much. That's why it is said Narayana comes back in the form of Ramakrishna. And then Ramakrishna also said, my father went to Gayadham and he had the vision, and from there this body has come. Uh, so, so feet so holy that the Ganga flows out. And Shiva, the Lord of destruction and Lord of air, he is holding that water coming out of the feet of Narayana, and he is holding on his matted lock. No? That is the way the story goes. No, who will hold the force of the holy Ganga falling into the earth? No, so Shiva says, "I will hold it," and he was prayed, and he agreed to hold in the matted block. That means in the head of Shiva is Mother Ganga, and that Ganga water is starting from Narayana. So these are all great inspiration for devotees who love to see God as Narayana. Shiva devotees will, of course, not be very happy with this. But these are all, it's our Guru, my Guru is Jagat Guru. Mannath says, Jagannath, my Lord is the Lord of the whole universe. So he will be the supreme. And that is the problem of dualism. But that has a beginning stage is very important to grow love for God in one form. And then you go, automatically it will melt into that form. So it is talking about how to start to do meditation in our day-to-day life. This is very important place we are now in. And then the water flowing from his feet could make even Shiva feel what he feels sanctified by allowing it to fall on his head. Shiva was impure. With the touch of Ganga, Shiva becomes pure. Even Shiva becomes pure. No, giving the idea, and then how much powerful is this? What is Narayana? Now think about it. This is the creating a idea of supremacy of my who am I? I am worshipping is the highest of the high. And by worshipping, I will get everything. That is the main intention, but people become fanatic. So it is not to be for fanatic, it is to be taken. If Shiva is becoming purified as it were, so if I can think of that feet pure, what will be all my sins will go away. I can realize God now itself. No?
There is a WhatsApp kind of story that they say like that after Kurukshetra war was over, then Arjuna asked Krishna that can you take me to Ganges? I want to take the bathing there because I have done so much sin. And then after going there, Krishna asked him, you wait, I come back. And he was waiting in the chariot, and one dead body came. And then two jackals came because the dead body was there because the other people went to collect some matches to burn it. In the meantime, two jackals came. So then one jackal came and smell the feet of that body and said that, no, I can't eat. Then other one said that why? He said that these feet are so unholy, they never went to any temple. Then he came to the hands and said that, smelled and said that, I can't eat. Then the other jackal said that why? He said that because these hands never served the Lord. Then he came to the mouth and they said that no, I can't eat. Then he said that why? Because they said that this mouth never spoke of God. Then they said that okay, this dead body we cannot use for eating. Then another one suggested, what about the one who is sitting on the chariot? Then Arjuna was a little scared. Then the other one said that no, we can't eat that one either. They said that why? Then he said that see, he came to take bath in Ganga with who? The one from whom Ganges is emerged. So he doesn't have any faith. So we can't touch him.
Okay. But nice story. So the dead body he saw a mystic vision. That's also vision. That the dead body, but the jackals appeared. Jackals cannot touch because it's so unholy. His feet never went to see the holy temple. His eyes do not go to see God's form. Hand did not do any noble work to serve God. So even the jackal rejected that as impure. And then said, then what about the who is sitting in the chariot? It is Arjuna. Arjuna. And then he said, what about that? I cannot touch that. But why? Because he has come to touch Ganga. He's so impure. And the Ganga, Lord Narayana was his charioteer. He's sitting with him and he's thinking he'll be purified going to touch Ganga. Right? You touch him, he's Ganga's father. Ganga's origin is Krishna, Narayana. So this is the okay. So holy that the thunderbolt marks on the soul can steady the mind. Let the aspirant meditate so long on his holy feet of Lord. Could so holy that the Ganga, the water flowing from his feet, could make even Shiva feel sanctified by allowing it to fall on his head. So holy that the thunderbolt marks on their soul can steady the mind of one meditating on them by the total destruction of mountains of sins. And what small sin? Mountains of sin can be washed away if you think of. So this gives great inspiration to devotees. You want to go to Ganga, you want to go to holy place. What will you get in holy place and Ganga? Just think of God. God is so pure, it will purify your whole heart and soul. 23rd verse. Meditate on the leg of the Lord, the creator of all, the beginningless being, the legs, who is the handsome hands of the Lakshmi, the lotus-eyed mother, adored even by Brahma, shampoo, placing them on her lap. No? You think of his feet, no? Now you think of the leg, his part. And leg is so spacious, handsome lotus. Because it is why? Because the creator made the creator of all from him, that from his leg, Upanishad says that the whole universe has come from the leg of the Virat Purusha, the great person, beginningless being. Dekhi, 23rd. Janudayam Jalajaluchanaya Jananya Lakshmya Akhilasya Suravanditaya Vidhatu Urvir Nidhayo Karapallavo Ruchisha Jat Solilalitang Hridi Biforo Abhavasya Kurja. So meditate on the legs of the Lord. The Lord leg is from leg of the Lord. The whole creation has come, and the legs which has been served by whom? Mother Lakshmi. Mother Lakshmi serving the Lord. So the lotus-eyed mother adored even by Brahma. See, mother is adored by Brahma, the creator God. And he is now shampooing the feet or the leg of Narayana. So meditate on the shining thighs of the Lord, which are blue and smooth like Atasika flower, one type of flower. It's blue like that, which form the source of all strength and firmness, which are placed astride the neck of his vehicle Garuda, and which are wrapped on his yellow robes that dangle down to the feet and are held in the position of his girdle. So think of his thighs, beautiful. 25. Meditate on the abdomen, the abode of all the worlds, with its deep navel, wherefrom arose the world lotus, with Brahma seated on it, and on his chest, which is adorned with shining pearl and necklace that dangle all over and lend a white radiance to his emerald like bracelet. So think of the chest, think of a bracelet, and the hand. Fix the mind on the Lord's chest, which is the seat of Mahalakshmi, and which fills the eyes of the minds of votaries with peace and bliss, and also on his neck, which enhances the luster of the precious diamond called Kaustuba, that which is wearing. He's adored, he's the adored of all the worlds. So think of his chest, think of his hand, think of his neck. huh? Meditate on his arms, bearing the arm bands, burnishing by friction with the whirling Mandara mountain and affording strength to all the deities. So think of the meditate on his arms, which is wearing arm bands, burnishing by friction with the whirling Mandara mountain to charm the what you call the mountains, ocean, and affording strength to all the deities, and also his hands, one holding the multifaceted discus of incomparable prowess. The discus, uh, which holding in one hand, which is the source of all energy, and the other, the white conch that resembles a swan on a red lotus. So meditate on his favorite mace, Kaumodika, whose surface has been stained by the blood of many enemies, on his floral wrath, resounding with humming of the honey bees, and on his neck jewel, Kaustuba, which is the subtle state of category of jiva. And too much description of nobility of the body parts. You think that makes the mind why they are suggesting this that our mind is very difficult to bring to God. Whenever we sit, suppose as we practice every day, when you sit for meditating on God, so your Ishta mantra you chant, and your mind roams where? It goes here and there. Do you are trying to repeat the mantra, but the mind goes on here and there. So what to do? That's why one keeps the mind focused in each part like that. This, from feet to toe to leg to thigh to chest to neck to hand to arm and armpit. So all this, every part, then your mind moves in that direction. It does not run away from your object of meditation. One should, 29 verse, one should particularly meditate with deep attention on the face of the Lord, who has assumed this form for the good of the devotees. Face is the greatest index of Sri Ramakrishna. You can think about that features also. How each finger is little different. If you see, it is different than of all of us. This is the great identification. Eye line and starting here. Our ear point starts here. Either our ears are above the eye line or here. But Ramakrishna's ear line you draw, you see, it is hanging here. Here it starts. So below. His hands lie. This part is so big. This side is so the collarbone. Look at Sri Ramakrishna's photo. So this, like that, if we particularly watch every part of the body, then mind will be engaged in that area and don't go to the marketplace. So this is the first benefit. That's why so much emphasis on the murti, on the divine image. One should particularly meditate with deep attention on the face of the Lord, who has assumed this form for the good of devotee. It's God Himself. He has taken this form for the good of, so that if totally look at the face, and the mind will be calm. That's why Mahapurush Maharaj said, if you cannot meditate with eyes open, look at Ramakrishna's photo. They see the whole picture or the face. His face has an attractive nose and handsome cheeks, reflecting the brilliance of his tremendous fish-marked earrings. Resplendent with his natural grace, surrounded by the curly locks and having long eyes and expressive eyebrows, his face far surpasses in beauty a large lotus with honey bees hovering about and two fish clinging it on both sides. So these are all description. There's long eyes, eyebrows, focusing on. Long should one meditate in the heart on the kindly, gracious, and heartening look of the Lord. Long should one meditate. One should focus long time in the heart on the kindly, gracious, and heartening look of the Lord, lit up with a smile that is comely yet expressive of his deep concern for all creatures involved in the sufferings of samsara. So the people who are suffering in some suffering in pain in the world, that type of worldly his face, his smile actually is expressing that he is concerned about the suffering of the humanity. His compassionate smile is potent enough to dry up the ocean of bitter tears shed by the creatures who have taken refuge in him. The smile can, if you look at the smile, Tabo hasi rasi kirano barasi ujale se thao charu bhai arup shayore lila lahori. Swami Premeshananda has composed this song. Tabo hasi rasi, your luster of your smile, no? That. Tabo hasi rasi, kirana barasi. It sheds light and removes all darkness. So here also, his compassionate smile is potent enough to dry up the ocean of bitter tears shed by the creatures who have taken refuge in him. If one Lord smiles, then all the cries and weeping of the devotee for ages together will be wiped out. His brows, which are the expression of his Vidya Maya, enlightening power, has been formed as a result of the prayer of all spiritual aspirants, so that they might look to the sanctifying movement of these eyebrows for protection from the attack of the Cupid. With the mind unwaveringly concentrated and the heart melting with love, one should meditate on the smiling face of the Lord as occupying cavity of one's heart and envisage his pearl-like teeth tinged with the red color of his lips. Nothing should draw away one's attention. So look at the face, beautiful face, which will remove all sufferings of human mind. And the mind unwaveringly concentrated. When mind gets concentrated in the smiling face of the Lord, the heart will melt in love. One should meditate on this face occupying the cavity of his heart. He's sitting in the heart. It says, Dhanayanam prahasitam. Hare Baba. Now, 34 verse, realizing through such meditation, the devotees obtain absorbing love for the Lord. So, we want to get love for God, so we'll have to think of God's divine body, divine form. It is not made of flesh and bone, it is made of all consciousness and joy and bliss. That's why Ram Swami Vivekananda has composed evening prayer. We pray every day. Chid Ghana Kai, he is made of chit, means consciousness. Ghana means concentrated. So Ramakrishna is not a man of flesh and bone, though he look like that, and though he walk like that, but he is the embodiment of all consciousness, concrete, concentrated consciousness. So through such meditation, the devotees obtain absorbing love for Lord. His heart melts in the sentiment of devotion, and his tears of surpassing joy almost drown him. The power of devotion then slowly melts the metallic hooks of the mind, which holds the Purusha in the bondage of Prakriti. Oh. So he says, if you do meditate like that, what will be the end result? End result will be your heart will melt in the sentiment of devotion. Your heart will be fully charged with devotion and love. And as a love, what will happen? Tears will flow, and it's tears of surpassing joy. It is not tears of sadness, but seeing that beautiful shining face, all tears will be flowing torrentially, and that tears of joy will happen. And the metal and that will remove the mind which is hooked with the world and worldliness. That hook, it is taking out the hook, taking out the soul from the hook of the world and worldliness. Just as a flame gets extinguished when the oil is its sustenance is exhausted, the mind is exhausting in the Lord when renunciation deprives it of the sense enjoyments that form its support. Normally, our senses are supported on worldly enjoyments, worldly objects. But when that mind gets the joy from seeing the beautiful face and the divine body of the Lord, Krishna or Ramakrishna, then what happens? Renunciation, which you have practiced, forgetting about the world, you get it full here, more than that. Deprives its sense enjoyments, that form of support. Then being liberated from the current of the gunas of the Prakriti, the jiva has a direct and unobstructed perception of the Supreme Being, who is the one without a second. So this will liberate the soul from the hook. If the mind is hooked with the world and worldliness, it will be taken out of that. And out of that, it will be totally absorbed in perfect peace. Liberated forever from the hold of the ignorant, tainted mind, the jiva is established in the transcendental glory of the spirit, which is beyond the relative joys and sorrows of the world. There is no sorrow, no joy which we are entangled into the day to day life. If they get deep inside it, all will be gone and he will be established in peace. Thus, having attained to the spiritual experience, he discovers that the cause of joy and sorrow lies in the ego sense that arises from the mistaken identification of oneself with the impermanent body mind combination born of Prakriti. We are finding little touch of joy and suffering. That was because we are entangled into the world. And then getting this, one will understand how meaningless, how futile is that, and how meaningful is this. 37. A jiva who has attained to this state in his final embodiment and he lives in complete detachment from the body. A jiva who can really love this way, he will be detached from the body also because his mind is deep into the meditation of the self or meditation of the Narayana, Krishna or Ramakrishna. Established in his true spiritual self, he he previous the body as something, he perceives the body as something that comes and goes, moves and falls according to prarabdha karma, and cares little for it, even as a man inebriate with wine pays no mind to his wearing cloth. So, as a man, as a person, drunk person does not care about whether he's wearing the cloth or is thrown away. Huh? Similarly, this inebriated in God will be absorbed in God such a way so he can attain, he can detach from everything and understand the body is comes and goes. I don't do. The highest gain knowledge, Vedantic knowledge will come by this practice. The end result is this. Follow the bhakti path, follow the jnana path. This is the uniqueness of Bhagavat. It is, but people explain differently. That is, don't explain as the translation I am reading. Simple statement is that it says, established in his true spiritual self. He perceives the body. He then gets established in his spiritual personality, that is God, and he perceives. How he perceives this body? This body as something that comes and goes, moves and falls according to your karma, according to prarabdha karma, and cares very little for it. Even as a man inebriated with wine pays no mind to his wearing cloth. The body, which is subject to karma, will continue to live so long as the prarabdha, as in Vedanta it says. The body will continue. Not that you have loved God and your torrential tears are coming in the eyes of joy, means that you will die. The body will continue its function. As long the prarabdha is there in his existence. But one who has attained to the state of samadhi and awakened to the truth will not identify oneself with the body. He will not identify with the body and the world of which it is a part. Just as one who has awakened from a dream no longer identifies himself with the actor in the dream. No? Like a person dream awakening. Uh, when one awakens from the dream, we know that was a dream. Uh, but some dream maybe people identify, but most of the days, every day's issue, when you dreamt and you wake up, you become so engrossed into this, you have no value to that. So this body which is so true to us, with that type of meditation, that type of identification every day, one will feel that he is free from this entanglement. Is it like a dream? What is happened here? Just as a man knows himself to be different from his son and wealth, however dear this might be to him, though through close association with them, even so he is in his true self different from the body-mind combination. Just 40, number 40. Just as in a burning wood, the fire is different from the wood as well as from the smoke and sparks coming out of it, so also the Atman is distinct from the body mind combination and its offshoot with which one is identified in the state of ignorance. So he comes out of this as a you put in a piece of fire, wood in the fire it sprinkles comes out and this and that, but it does not identify with anything but the fire. In the same way, the Supreme Spirit, all capital, that is which is called Bhagavan and Brahman, is distinct from all other entities. The Pradhana and all the categories that spring from it, as also from the Jiva in the state of ignorance, he is the witness of all this. Just as all objects in the world are seen in their substantial nature as one with their material elements, so the same Atman should be seen as existing in all beings and all beings as subsisting in the same Atman. Oh my God, the highest Vedanta. In this state, you will see the Atman in everything and in Atman the whole world.
In Bhagavad Gita also he said, the one who sees me, Lord.
Such is the wisdom of the man of enlightenment. Just as the one fire manifests as many according to the difference of the fuel in which it manifests, so also the one supreme spirit abiding in the Prakriti manifests differently as innumerable centers of consciousness. Therefore, 44 says, following the path of devotion described above, the jiva regains union with the Supreme Being, of whom he is a part as a spark of the fire, and overcomes the bondage of Prakriti, who is the Lord's own power of manifestation, represented by the manifold world in its subtle and gross aspect, and which is difficult to overcome except by His grace. So, by God's grace, they become one and they see Himself in everyone, and in everyone sees the Supreme Lord. So, what is the goal of human life? Seeing God everywhere. They see God everywhere in themselves and in the whole world. Oh, only to do. Who will do this meditation? Who will do the meditation? That is the point. This is the, we know what to do, how to meditate, how to practice, how to get the mind engrossed into it, how the world will drop up, and the philosophy we know, mind will go into such a height that the whole identification with the world will go away. And in that defined state of mind, one will see that God is everywhere, God is in me, the same God everywhere. The vision will come. Here ends the chapter 28. We will start chapter 29 next day, next time. So we can end here. I think,
7:30.
is there anything?
No.
No question is good because no one is there to see, listen. Okay.
There's 20 people there, 20, 25.
Oh, then there is little hope. Thank you all who are watching over the YouTube, through the YouTube. Thank you all. So if you have any question next time, can put those questions. Okay. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Om Sri Ram Krishna Arpanam Astu.
7:30.
So we have our next class at 7:30, the Shanti Gita. At 7:30, we'll meet you again.